My name is Terry Nelson. I am, I have many hats. I was a former council member, and I am the founder and creator of the Beacon Independent Film Festival. Born and raised in New York City, my wife and I moved here with our daughter 13 years ago. Well, we went to a housewarming party. We were already on the search for a new home, and we decided to give Beacon a try because we got lost in Beacon. So we were looking around and we're thinking, no, it's not a bad place to live. So it took us about a year to get it done, but we finally moved in 2009. I like that it's small. I like the fact that I had more opportunities to, work on my creative side here. And I like the arts community here.
I'm Justice McRae. I am a city council person here in Beacon, New York, and I'm also a social justice activist, community organizer, and a librarian. If I have to think about why I live in Beacon now, why I chose to stay in Beacon, because I'm from this city, it's because it's home. It's funny, I left Beacon in 2017 to go find myself, and that was really wonderful. But and I never expected to stay, but in 2020, in the pandemics, during the pandemic, I started doing a lot of organizing. I organized a lot of protests, and I was connecting with people on a level that I had never connected with before. And I built community in a way that I hadn't built before. And it's the people here that I absolutely love and want to fight for and make my experience here so enjoyable and wonderful.
Hi, I'm Scott Tillett. So I'm the founder of Beehive, which is a network of co-working spaces founded here in Beacon in 2009, and we've also been in Kingston and Peekskill, and we're in Albany and Newburgh, and looking at other communities. I didn't know that much about Beacon, and I very quickly fell in love with the community that was here, and the community in the wider Hudson Valley, and all the towns and villages here, and the river and the mountains and everything that it has to offer. Beacon has changed a lot since I moved here in 2006, for good and bad. And as everyone knows, that's happening up and down the river. There are bad things to the gentrification. There are good things to the gentrification and the development. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few years.
Hi, my name is Amy Soucy. I am a yoga teacher, a transformational wellness coach, and also a singer-songwriter. I wear many hats. What I like about Beacon is its proximity to the natural world. I love that I actually live kind of on a bluff where I can see the Hudson River, and then we have the mountain on the other side, and we have hiking trails, and I love the community. There's a lot of beautiful, caring people here, and artists and creative people.
My name is Gwen Laster. I am a musician, I'm a violinist, I compose music, I'm a teaching artist, and I'm an activist with my art. The good energy of Beacon, the people that I grew to find out were moving to Beacon. We had been in the Hudson Valley for quite some years, but once we heard about Beacon and had an opportunity to be here, it just started flourishing into this really strong artistic community where people wanted to focus on that and let art be something to uplift the community. So that's what brought me to Beacon. There is so much changing. I'm hoping that people that were here when Beacon was the other Beacon still have the opportunity to afford to still live here. I love that there are so many city folks coming up, and particularly Brooklyn. I sometimes like to call it Beaklin, because it's this combination of all these Brooklynites coming into Beacon. So I'm just hoping that we can keep the roots of the community still very firm and intact as we begin to flourish and expand and do all these wonderful things that I like about Beacon.
So my name is Michelle, and I own Blackbird Attic Consignment Boutique. And I came up to Beacon because I lived in the city, and we were just trying to get out of the city. I missed grass and fresh air, and we had just heard about this city that was really artsy and up and coming. This was 12 years ago now, and so we just gave it a go. We got a realtor, and we just came up here and just started looking for houses.
Eleni.
And David.
Smolin. Well, I'm an artist and I have a studio in Newburgh, but I used to have a gallery on Main Street for 8 years, which I closed in 2018, and I now still deal in Inuit prints out of my house in Beacon.
And I'm a woodworker, retired from the business but still enjoying it, and love the music scene in Beacon, and I'm here because it's a great compromise between the city and the country.
Well, we were living upstate.
Way in the country.
In the southern tier, very rural, very isolated, and we were originally from Brooklyn. We didn't want to move back to Brooklyn, but we wanted to find a point where there was still a country feel, but still city.
And access to the city via Metro North makes it so easy.
And we looked around Hudson Valley for about 6 months and landed on Beacon. We love the people here.
I've never seen such a high density of creative, intelligent people as in Beacon.
And active.
And active.
Activists, yeah.
Hi, I'm Denise Gianna of Denise Gianna Designs Interior Design. I came to Beacon 25 years ago because it was super convenient for commuting. My soon-to-be husband was going to the city every day and I was going to Westchester and Putnam. So it was a little edgy. I liked that. We wanted edgy and we really wanted diversity. And when we eventually adopted our 2 children from South America, we were very glad to be here because they just fit right in with everybody else. What's kept me in Beacon is the fact that, at least so far, it hasn't gentrified in the way that other places have gentrified. It's stayed edgy, it's stayed interesting, and everybody I know, which is a lot of people because I'm on Main Street all the time, are involved in some way. And shop on Main Street, interact on Main Street. Even during COVID, there was still lots going on, and I love that about Beacon.
I'm still Boyd. Well, Beacon's gotten progressively better, so every year was better than the one before in terms of, amenities, our friends, things to do, my belief in the future of, the city and as a place to live and work, and be involved, honestly. It's a place where involvement was called for. It was pretty grody, actually, in the old days. It was every third storefront was boarded up. It was pretty nasty.
And now
but
it's
turned around now. But it's a wonderful place. It has the benefit of being close to the city, but not so close that you can't get away from it. It's there when you want it to be.
Marco Guzian, the Hudson Valley Food Hall. I'm from Beacon. I went to school in the city, and I worked in the city, and then I worked overseas in Europe in my father's hometown, where I met my now wife. And that business I had overseas closed down, and so when I was coming back, I was trying to figure out what to do. And I had originally thought, my wife's an architect, that she was going to work in the city and we want to be in the city. And she was the one who was like, no, I'd actually, like to live in Beacon. And so I grew up 15 minutes from Main Street, and I was like, really, you sure? And then I kind of looked around, this is 2010, so I kind of looked around, I was like, no, you know what, this is actually really nice. So we got an apartment on Main Street, and been here ever since. And all my work is in Beacon. My wife still works in the city, but all my work's in Beacon. And now that I'm looking to expand, I'm looking at other cities and towns similar to Beacon, with a lot of dogs barking. The reason we originally liked it, my wife originally liked it, was because she liked walking Main Street. She liked being on Main Street, walking to things. In time, I can't walk a block down this Main Street without saying hi to someone I know. A lot of people that I'm still in touch with and I work with here are people I've known since I was a kid. Others I didn't or I knew of, like Randy, the former mayor, who manages the food hall now. I knew my father and him were friends when I was a kid, but I didn't really know him, and then we got to be very close later. It's great. Again, it's a small city that has a really strong community feel.
My name is Gina Samarge, and I run Compass Arts Creativity Project. We're an arts nonprofit located here in Beacon. It was a combination of the beauty of the nature around here, along with the kind of arts-focused community. It's a really progressive community. Within the first year of just coming up to visit my now husband, it became apparent that I needed to live here. And so we've been here now. I've been here for 12 years, and my husband's been here for 13 as of this summer, and we love it. We provide arts enrichment classes from anywhere from toddler caregiver classes up through currently middle school, and then we have an adult choir, but we're in the process of expanding into high school. We're developing right now an arts leadership program for high school students that we're hoping to implement a pilot of this fall that'll include classes, job opportunities, actually assisting other teaching artists in their classroom, mentorship, and then also this community service element where we use our art to give back. Like today, we have a bunch of middle schoolers that are building tiny food pantries with a local sculptor and woodworker to provide food access to the community. So we're going to build 4 tiny food pantries with Fairground, which is a local nonprofit food justice organization. So these are the kinds of projects we're hoping to do more and more of. We also produce like free activities and concerts in the park, at the farmers market, and we're in the process of talking with the city schools here and reaching out to Head Start about implementing some more arts enrichment programming in the schools as well.
Lee Kiriakou. Well, among other things, I'm the mayor of the city of Beacon. We moved to Beacon in 1992, so 30 years ago, and my wife and I were both in the city. We took a drive in fall foliage and thought, this is spectacular. And we went looking for an older home, like a Victorian, facing the river at a train station in an intact community, and Beacon had all those pieces. Mind you, it was a time no one was moving here, and people thought we were a little crazy, but our 2 cents was the underlying bones were here, and we just needed to roll up our sleeves and get involved. I got on city council a year later. My wife got on a bunch of boards, and we were just involved. We've come an unbelievably long way. I think we are one of the jewels in the Hudson now, and we certainly weren't when we first got here. But I think our obligation is to lay out the path for the next 20 years, and I think we can do that.
Hi, my name is Jean-Marc Superville-Sovac, and I am an artist and hopefully a cultural misfit in terms of the public work that I've been doing for probably the past 10 years here in Beacon and elsewhere. So like I said, for about 10 years, I've been working at Dia Beacon as a guide and as a public educator. So part of what I do is share that amazing collection of art with people and make plywood boxes make sense as a form of art. And also, most of my peeps are in Beacon. This is good people here.
My name is Joe Robitaille. It's called Homespun Foods. Homespun Foods is a restaurant, independent restaurant. It's been here since 2006. It was opened by Jessica Reisman, and I took over from her in November 2019. Through talking with Jessica, found out about that she was selling the restaurant, wanted to retire, and I was a sommelier in the city at Il Bucco for 6 years. Then I worked for Barbalud and Balud Sud after that for a couple of years. And Jessica and I started talking, and just sort of made sense that I could essentially get to run my own restaurant, and she could get to retire. And it was a pretty interesting deal because it was something where somebody without a ton of financing or investment could start their own restaurant. And so it was basically trying to ease the transition for the community and for the staff. And we did a pretty good job of that. And then COVID happened, and then we've done like 10 million pivots ever since then. And yeah, it's been good. What I like about Beacon, yeah, I mean, it's springtime right now, so it's easy to like. But yeah, it's great because you have a lot of green space, a lot of outdoor space. Still have a lot of independent small businesses, which to me is really awesome. It reminds me a lot of when I moved to the city. And when you start seeing things like St. Mark's Bookstore close and just not a whole lot of like non-corporate business in Manhattan and a lot of empty retail spaces in Brooklyn, then it made sense to come up here to this really beautiful place. And yeah, close to the mountains, get outside in the summertime, swim, run. It's a great place.
I'm Sember Weinman. I'm the executive director for Common Ground Farm. And Common Ground Farm is a nonprofit organization focused on food access and education, and we run the Beacon and Newburgh farmers markets. We have a farm to school programming and a summer camp, and we also grow a lot of food that we donate to the community. At the time, it was an affordable place to live, and we moved up from Westchester. My husband has worked in Peekskill for a long time, so 11 years ago, this was an affordable move upstate. Now it's things have changed for sure. Yeah, we actually live in a very small house just right over there, and things have definitely gotten more expensive. But one thing that we work on, one thing that I work on with as part of my organization is trying to support people who have lower incomes who are struggling here. So I'm pretty aware of that the differences in income and how it affects different people. I think it's a very kind of open-minded and thoughtful community. A lot of people really come out when we have our big, we just had our big Super Greens fundraiser that supports food access at the market, and people came out from all over the community, and we just really feel the community support from people. I think it is I appreciate the diversity, and I appreciate that people really want to support each other across different demographics. So it feels like a supportive community, and then just I think people are very kind of earth-minded and artistic, and those things appeal to me as well.